Hi there, and welcome to the first edition of Shortcuts, a new vlog from the makers of Cinema Eclectica. I'm Graham, and on this vlog I'm going to go through some of the aspects of films that are a bit fiddly or in-depth to go over on the show. In this case, we're talking about Darren Aronofsky's Mother. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't want to relitigate this case because we reviewed it on the podcast a couple of weeks back. Basically, I hated it, and I'm not alone in hating it. On the Monday after it came out, there were stories of it being given an F by CinemaScore audiences, along with a lot of other actually rather interesting films like Steven Soderbergh's Solaris and Andrew Dominik's Killing Them Softly. And Paramount went into a bit of damage control mode. They got Aronofsky and his star Jennifer Lawrence to basically go around explaining the subtext of the film to people. It's something which Robbie Collins been having a bit of fun with on Twitter, and he actually likes the movie. I think it's really misguided. For a start, I don't think that the subtext of Mother is fascinating enough to bear being explained in this level of detail. I mean, when we reviewed it on the show, our producer Rob could sense that we were all talking around something, and he said, all right, once we'd stopped recording, he said, this metaphor, this allegory you're talking about, what is it? Now, if memory serves, I got about as far as saying Javier Bardem is God and Jennifer Lawrence represents Mother Nature before he said, you know what, this sounds rubbish. It does sound rubbish, but in Mother's defence, I think any film would if explained in this manner. I mean, one of my all-time favourite films is David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. And there's an orthodox reading of Mulholland Drive that the first 4/5 of it are a dream by Naomi Watts' character, and then the remainder is what happens when she wakes up. Now, expressed in those terms, that's the oldest and most boring cliche in writing history. She woke up and it was only a dream. If you've seen Mulholland Drive, you'll know that it doesn't play like that, in part because in Lynch's world, nothing is just a dream. Think of all the clues that Agent Cooper gets in his dreams in Twin Peaks. Think of Sandy's dream coming true in Blue Velvet. Dreams in Lynch's work have a massive effect on people's waking lives. They tell you who they are and what they're going to do. But yeah, in plain text, it does sound like she woke up and it was all a dream. But that's not an argument against Mulholland Drive. That's an argument against explaining Mulholland Drive to someone who hasn't seen it in that way. And Paramount have ensured that a lot of people's first experience with Mother, and bear in mind they started doing this before the film had been out for a whole week, will be Aronofsky going around saying, well, first and foremost, it's an environmental allegory. If a subtext sounds just as good being explained in dialogue, don't make it a subtext, make it dialogue. That said, I can sort of understand why Paramount are trying this. For a lot of viewers, there's nothing quite as annoying as a piece of work that they don't get. When Gary Larson had just started doing his famous series of cartoons, The Far Side, he made a cartoon called Cow Tools, the joke of which was that if cows could make tools, those tools would not be very good. Now, Larson admits that this is not exactly the funniest idea he had in his long and distinguished career. Perhaps that's why, when the Cow Tools cartoon came out, a lot of people thought there must be something else to this, and he started getting mail like this. I represent a small band of fellows from every walk of American life who have been drawn together by a need to know, a need to understand, and a certain perplexity about what to do with this decade. We are a special interest group under the umbrella organisation, the Fellowship of the Unexplained. The Cow Tools Fellows have been brought together by the absolute certainty that your cartoon captioned Cow Tools means something. But, as this letter signifies, just what it might mean has escaped us. Nowadays, they'd have their own subreddit for that, wouldn't they? Larson summarises the Cowtools affair by saying, "In summary, I drew a really weird, obtuse cartoon that no one understood and wasn't funny, and therefore I went on to even greater success and recognition. Yeah, I like this country." He also says, though, "It's even more curious to me that people often seem angered by a cartoon they don't get. Well, hell, I don't understand all my cartoons." A while back, I went to see a film called Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, which is a very good film. It stars Elizabeth Olsen in the role that really broke her out as a young woman who moves back in with her family after she's escaped a cult. And if you haven't seen this film, first off, you should. It's excellent. But secondly, if you've seen it, you'll know that it ends with a scene which, without spoiling anything, is quite ambiguous and throws a few events of the film into question. And as I was walking out and trying to parse this in my head and turn it over, a woman in front of me span round on her heels and jabbed a finger at me, and she said, "What did you think of that then? Why did you think they did that? What did that ending mean?" And as I was stammering helplessly, she said, "I hate it when they do things like that. It makes no sense." Now, at this point, I wanted to launch into a defence of Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. I wanted to say, actually, you're wrong. It's an excellent film. Here's what that ending means. But I couldn't, because I hadn't really decided what it meant myself. It occurs to me now, as I'm retelling that story, that we were both at the same point with the film. We were both walking out thinking, what is the director wanting me to take home from that last scene? How does it colour the rest of the movie? It's just that I was enjoying that process and she was furious about it. Now, I mean, I like art house films and surrealism and performance art and a lot of other fields of human endeavour that make most people cough up blood in frustration. So I'm sort of used to people getting frustrated by things like this, and I think underpinning it is a sort of idea that if an artist makes something whose meaning is hard to get at, they are elitists. They're doing it to thumb their nose at you and stop you enjoying their work. I don't think that's true at all. I've recently watched the new series of Twin Peaks, and like probably everyone who's watched the new series of Twin Peaks, I've had moments where I've thought, is this going anywhere? But I've also thought, I like these characters, I like these actors playing these characters. This series looks gorgeous. It has wonderful music. It's tense, it's sexy, it's scary, it's funny. It makes me wonder what's going to happen next. It has things that I've never seen before and am never going to see again. It has everything you'd want in a piece of entertainment. In short, I thought, if David Lynch and Mark Frost are leading me up the garden path, I'm at least enjoying the journey. And that, I think, was the problem with Mother in the end. It wasn't that I felt confused by the film, it was that I didn't care.